Understanding cognitive biases, reference dependence and loss aversion. Hello, I'm Laurie Santos, a psychology instructor at Yale University. Today, I would like to discuss the concepts of reference dependence and loss aversion, which are key topics in the study of cognitive biases. To illustrate these ideas, let's consider a hypothetical scenario involving a medical team tackling a new and highly contagious strain of flu that poses a serious threat to public health. This flu has already infected 600 million individuals, and without intervention, it is expected to be fatal for all of them. Fortunately, there are two potential medications available for mass production to combat this outbreak. The first option, referred to as Drug A, has been shown through clinical trials to guarantee the saving of 200 million lives. The second option, Drug B, presents a more uncertain outcome. It offers a 1/3 probability of saving all 600 million infected individuals, but conversely, it carries a 2/3 chance that none of the infected will survive. Given these choices, which drug would you select? Most likely, you would lean towards Drug A, as it ensures the survival of 200 million people, which is a significant and definite benefit. Now, let's shift the scenario slightly. Imagine your team is now deciding between Drug C and Drug D. If you opt for Drug C, it is certain that 400 million people will die. On the other hand, choosing Drug D gives you a 1/3 chance that no one will perish, but a 2/3 chance that all 600 million will die. In this case, you might find yourself inclined to choose Drug D, as the possibility of saving everyone seems like a favorable risk. If you chose Drug A in the first scenario and Drug D in the second, you are not alone. Behavioral economists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky presented these scenarios to college students, and their findings revealed that 72% preferred Drug A over Drug B, while 78% favored Drug D over Drug C. Now, let's analyze these outcomes from a different perspective, focusing on the number of lives saved versus lost. In the first scenario, Drug A guarantees the survival of 200 million individuals, while Drug B offers a 1/3 chance of saving all 600 million, alongside a 2/3 chance of saving none. For the second scenario, Drug C will certainly result in 400 million deaths, while Drug D mirrors the probabilities of Drug B, with a 1/3 chance of saving everyone and a 2/3 chance of saving no one. Interestingly, when we break it down this way, we can see that the two sets of options are fundamentally equivalent. Both Drug A and Drug C will result in 200 million lives saved, while 400 million will inevitably die. Similarly, both Drug B and Drug D present a 1/3 chance of saving all lives and a 2/3 chance of saving none. This leads us to a puzzling conclusion. It seems illogical to prefer Drug A over Drug B while simultaneously favoring Drug D over Drug C, given that they are essentially the same choices presented in different contexts. This phenomenon can be attributed to two well-known cognitive biases, reference dependence and loss aversion. Reference dependence suggests that our decisions are influenced by the way options are framed, while loss aversion indicates that we tend to prefer avoiding losses over acquiring equivalent gains. Understanding these biases can help us navigate our decision-making processes more effectively. When making decisions, we often do so not by considering absolute values, but rather in relation to a certain baseline or status quo. For instance, when you stumble upon a dollar bill lying on the ground, you don't view that dollar as a part of your total wealth. Instead, you perceive it as an increase in your current situation, thinking, "I am now $1 richer." This phenomenon is known as reference dependence. Similarly, when faced with choices regarding life-saving options, you don't evaluate them based solely on the total number of lives saved. Instead, you frame your decisions in relation to the existing situation, which is why the way we phrase these scenarios is crucial. In the first scenario, the focus is on the number of lives saved, which serves as your reference point. You consider how many additional lives you could potentially save. In contrast, the second scenario emphasizes the number of lives that could be lost, which introduces a different perspective. This concern about potential losses leads us to the second cognitive bias that influences our decision-making, loss aversion. Loss aversion refers to our inherent reluctance to make choices that could result in losses. We generally dislike losing things, whether they are financial assets, lives, or even something as trivial as candy. This instinct to avoid losses can lead us to make irrational decisions. For example, loss aversion can cause individuals to cling to properties that are depreciating in value within the housing market simply because they are unwilling to sell at a loss. It can also result in poor investment choices, as people may shy away from potentially lucrative stocks due to the fear of a small chance of incurring losses. In the context of drug options, our aversion to loss becomes evident when we consider drugs C and D, both of which involve the risk of losing lives. Our fear of any potential loss drives us to prefer drug D, which presents a chance of not losing anyone, over drug C. Conversely, when we evaluate drugs A and B, which both focus on saving lives, our loss aversion is less pronounced. This leads us to favor the safer option, drug A, over drug B. The way outcomes are described can significantly alter our perception of the scenarios and the choices we make. When losses are highlighted, our instinct is to minimize them, often leading us to take on more risk than we typically would. Thus, the manner in which a decision is framed can lead us to arrive at entirely different conclusions, even in critical situations involving life and death. Ultimately, we find ourselves influenced by how our minds interpret information, and this interpretation is often swayed by our cognitive biases.